Most introverts in business aren't stuck because they have the wrong strategy or they don't have the skills to move forward. They're stuck because they're waiting for perfect clarity and feeling ready before they take action. And you'll notice when I talk about niching and getting started that I have a very different mindset around deciding on a niche and feeling like you have to have that figured out before you can begin. If we haven't met before, I'm Katherine Mackenzie-Smith. I support introverted and neurodivergent solopreneurs to build businesses that support their needs, energy, and strengths through my cozy business philosophy and framework. As an award-winning coach who has been navigating this myself for the last 10 years, I know exactly how easy it can be to get caught up on all of the things going on in the world and what we've been taught success should look like. And in every video, I'm hoping to share with you an insight, a strategy, or a system that are simple to implement and can help you to find success on your terms. So if you feel like you're spinning in circles, trying to figure out your business and all of the steps before putting it out there, I'm going to show you the #1 reason introverts get stuck and the simple shift that will help you to move forward. By the end of this video, I hope you will see why clarity doesn't come from thinking and trying to plan out every single thing. It comes from gentle momentum and aligned action. And I'll share 3 simple ways to get started with that today in a way that feels good for you. So let's start with the big picture, why clarity matters. This is not about powering ahead mindlessly. We all know Simon Sinek's Start With Why and what a massive impact it can have on our own mission and vision, but also what we're inviting our audience and our community into. It's so important to have a bigger picture goal that you can keep aligning with as a compass and constantly evaluating and reviewing to make sure that we're actually working towards something we really want ourselves and not just following what other people have taught us we should want. Having some kind of compass guiding our way is really helpful to be able to make decisions not from a place of FOMO or urgency or scarcity, but to decide on the systems, strategies, and support that are best going to help us get to where we want to go in a way that's most going to support us. This really helps with not jumping around from course to course and mentor to mentor just because you've noticed the latest trend or somebody seems to be doing really well with a different strategy or framework. The important thing is to have clarity around what it is that you're working towards, what it is that you need as a person in the world, and who or what is best going to help you get there without having to change who you are. And this is so counter to what we've maybe been taught to do. I know the first few years in my business, I very much was following the playbook for success and what I thought I was meant to be doing. And this led to completely burning out in my business and walking away for 3 years. Think about it like you're going on an amazing trip somewhere. You know where your destination is. You have an idea of the places you might like to visit. You've got a vehicle that's going to help you to get there. But you want to be open-minded enough that when you arrive, there might be variables that you could not have possibly planned for, whether it's the weather or something outside of your control, stumbling upon a hidden gem that you want to spend more time exploring, or connecting with people or something when you get there that makes you realize that all the things you thought you were going to want to do when you arrived have completely changed, and so have your priorities. You can be as organized as you like before you leave for your trip, but there are so many things you're not going to know for sure until you get there. Clarity is not a rigid roadmap. It's a process of setting an intention, checking in regularly so you don't go too far off course, adjusting your sails, and learning as you go. It's so important to take a moment to sit down, to have some idea of the direction that you'd like to be going in. I did not start out as a coach with the vision and the big why that I have today. Who we are, what we're playing for, and what it is that gets us up in the morning is going to evolve and change over time. And the more that we can learn to accept that and to really know and check in with ourselves, the more flexible and adaptable we are to our changing and evolving selves. And the less likely we're going to be influenced by the energy of other people and the directions that they're heading in. Next, let's talk about why perfectionism and overthinking can keep introverts stuck. So if you haven't heard the pottery class parable, the story goes that a pottery class was split into 2, and the teacher told one half of the class that by the end of the course, they were to make one perfect pot. The other half of the group was told that throughout the duration of the course, they were to make as many pots as possible. Now, the tale goes that at the end of the course, the group that were to make the one perfect pot really struggled, and the best pots came from the group that made as many pots as they could over all of the weeks that the course ran for. This is how so many things work and how we can build our skills, our resilience, our problem solving, and learn so much more by doing than thinking and planning and preparing and hoping that we get it right the first time. Many introverts get stuck in overthinking and overwhelm, trying to create the perfect website, the perfect post, the perfect offer, or figure out the perfect niche before getting started. But real clarity comes from starting something, putting it out there, reviewing the results, setting a course for what to do next, repeating the things that worked well, and continuing to iterate and evolve over and over again. Similar to planning a trip and only being able to be so prepared, creating content, working with clients, putting out an offer, and figuring out your messaging, your niche, how to do things, and all of the tech and systems behind it are things that we can only know for sure when we try, test, and adjust along the way. I learned this so early in my business by diving in and starting to work with clients very soon after getting certified. It allowed me the freedom to work with a whole different bunch of people before really settling in on a niche. I thought I was going to be supporting fellow 20-somethings who had been working towards a career goal since high school and had suddenly decided they didn't want to do that anymore. And after a year of working with clients full time, I looked back to discover that not only had I not worked with someone the same age as me, none of the clients I had worked with throughout that time were in the niche that I thought they were going to be in. Instead, I accidentally built a business supporting introverted solopreneurs like you to understand their energy, to find a way to share their work that felt good for them and was aligned with their strengths, and to build a business that supported them. All because I took action first and clarity came through that action. And the third way to start moving forward today is by choosing something to focus on and then committing to it for the next 90 days. I was just talking to a client about it today, where she has been getting so much amazing momentum in her coaching business. But last week she started to implement a new strategy and it didn't quite go the way she expected it to. So this week when we talked, I could tell she was really starting to get scattered, thinking about what she should do instead and about how that just didn't work and it was time to think of something else. But I see this all the time. The things that we're trying and testing in our business, the foundations that we're putting in place to build consistency and get results are so opposite to an Instagram post that has about a 15-minute shelf life. Because of this, I think we have an expectation about seeing those results, getting that dopamine hit immediately, forgetting that for everything that we do over a period of weeks and even months starts to compound and build on top of each other. We get better, we learn, we tweak, and we try again. And that we can focus on what didn't work, but we also need to make sure that we're looking out for proof that something is working, even if the results are slightly different from what we expected them to be. But most people don't have the attention spans, or they have too much urgency to see an immediate result, to stick it out long enough to get the information and the data that they need to even know what's working and what's not. We can't know for sure from any point in time if something that we're going to set out to do for the next 90 days is going to have the outcome that we want it to. But what we can do is we can set an intention or make a hypothesis based on what we've done previously. We can commit to it for 90 days, and we can also choose to let go of a lot of the distractions that are not aligned with the experiment that we're carrying out. So for example, if you're starting a new content strategy, a new advertising or marketing plan, or you have a new offer idea that you've come up with, don't abandon it after just a couple of weeks. Stick with it. Refine it, check in each week, document your process as you're going, because there will be nuggets of wisdom for you and even maybe for your audience along the way. And when you do a review at the end, you're going to have so much more information to set your intention or hypothesis for the next 90 days. The goal isn't to force yourself into the wrong thing. It's to give yourself enough time to learn and know what is working, what isn't, and what you can repeat next time. What I see so often is people starting to then tell stories about why a result has or hasn't happened. But when we commit to taking specific actions, learning as we go, and gathering and reviewing the data at the end of a period of time, we can let go of the stories that we're telling about ourselves, our audience, or the work we do. And instead, we can just review the data and see the results of what needs to be improved upon and what we want to repeat again next quarter. Clarity isn't something that you wait for. It's something you build over time through aligned actions, refining, and doing it all again. And this is a big reason why I'm such a fan of tracking what you're doing on a daily and weekly basis, even just for your own records. I often find that there are amazing gems that I pick up that I can share with my audience through my content. But the two things I see the most in the people who come to me who are feeling confused and overwhelmed about the work that they're doing is that they're either jumping all over the place and not committing enough time to something to gather enough information, or they're not keeping track of what they're doing, and so they feel like they're behind or not building any momentum because they have absolutely no idea what momentum is happening. So let me just recap quickly the 3 simple ways to start moving forward today. Have a big picture goal, an intention, or a vision so that you can constantly be checking in and making sure that the action that you're taking is leading you in the direction of where you want to go. Let go of the perfectionism that is keeping you standing still, hoping that by thinking and planning enough, you're going to feel ready to put your work out into the world, and instead allowing yourself to make as many pots as you can, knowing that every time you do something, you're going to learn something new that's going to make you better next time. And set a commitment to yourself to focus on one thing for the next 90 days, decide the actions that you're going to take or focus on each week, and then review and check in at the end of that time to see what you learned, what you could do better next time, and what you can repeat again because it was working well. And if you like the idea of clarity through gentle momentum, I'm just about to launch the clarity course in the Cozy Business Common Room. We're going to take some of the ideas that I have talked about today, build on them, and help you to find clarity and safety in your own self to move forward with aligned action and to really implement so that in 90 days time, you can really start to see momentum building. If you're interested in learning more about that, I'll pop all of the details in the description. And if you'd like to learn more about my Cozy Business Framework, you can check out the video here. Thanks so much for watching or listening to this if you're on the podcast, and I'll catch you in the next one.